Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining the Microsoft 365 Community Conference Workshop Preview Series. That's quite a mouthful, and we'd like to thank our strategic partner, BTechly, who is producing this event. This series is in its second of a 3-week run. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be featuring sneak peeks into the workshops scheduled for the main event in Orlando this April. After this month of January with workshops, we'll be following up with topic discussions, panels between Microsoft speakers as well as community speakers, and we'll discuss the different sessions, the different topics at that point as well. And that schedule will be promoted very shortly. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the other offerings that are coming up in the preview events, we've got a QR code that Terry's popped up there. And if you go there, you'll see the schedule of events, the speakers, and the topics and the workshops. But most of all, we really hope to see you in Orlando this April at the actual conference, the Microsoft 365 Community Conference. But now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers today, Martina Grom and Toni Pohl.
Hey, hello everybody. My name is Martina Grom.
Hello from my side. I'm Toni Pohl. I'm happy to be here with you today.
And it's great that we can present our workshop. We can give you a short walkthrough through our slides and can show you what we are doing in our governance workshop. And just let's start.
Let's start with a quick preview.
Yes. So first of all, and it's kind of interesting because we do the governance workshop every year, and every year it changes completely. So the workshop title this year is that we want to master M365 Copilot, the Power Platform, and also Agent and Agent 365. And this is our 2026 edition. Again, why does it matter now? Again, because we do it every year. And the thing is, we are now in an AI first environment. So governance is no longer about locking things down. It's about enabling innovation safely, confidentially, and at scale. So every year we revisit our governance because the stack of Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform changes a lot. And this year in 2026, we see that Copilot, extensibility, Agent 365 fundamentally shift how we must think about access, data boundaries, compliance, and automation. And that also see that AI is here to stay. This is really important. What we also see is AI is gaining trust. But on the other side, it also sprawls everywhere. And this is why we need governance. And that also means
AI is no longer a vision, it's here and we're working with it on a daily basis. And so do our users.
Yes. And also what we see is from a governance perspective, Microsoft is doing changes every month. And that also means we need to be equally fast. Why this workshop matters to you and why it matters to us, we do an update every year, and in 2026 we have the biggest changes yet. We implement Copilot governance and also Agent 365 governance, because we see we have AI touching every collaboration and workflow. We have also big risks in 2026 which are not technical. So it's not only a technical workshop, because the workshop also looks around visibility, around roles, at organizational readiness. And also what we see in everyday life, because we work in consulting around Microsoft 365, Copilot, and so on, is that most customers still have a lack of a clear governance vision, and also life cycle processes, which are my favorite topic, are still not implemented across M365. And just to show you an example, what's that, Toni?
So, for example, we get feedback from our customers that they say, well, I have no idea about how many guests do I have, or if my guests are using my tenant, if they really collaborate. So, for example, one easy task is to read all the guests from Entra ID, to make a Power BI report out of that, to categorize the users. In this case, we see, for example, we have that tenant with only 100 users. We have more than 50 guests in here per tenant. So it makes sense to have a look at that and see, okay, do I need to add some task for an automatical removement of the guest users or something like that. So that's just a typical sample from real life, what our customers are more or less coming back to us and say, hey, do you have a solution for that? How can I get these numbers? How can I react to these numbers? And usually we build some kind of life cycle process, what Martina mentioned before.
Yes, and the life cycle in that term means that, for instance, if my 54 guests haven't signed in the last 30 days, we have a process to remove them and invite them again if we need them again.
And it's the same with Power Platform environments, for example, with Power BI workspaces, and of course with agents as well.
Yeah. So what changed in our workshop in 2026, what you see here is we talk about Copilot everywhere. So you have seen us talk about identity, about zero trust, about lifecycle, teams, Power Platform. But also those are our foundations. It's the core services we talked about. Today, we are adding AI governance. We are adding extensibility governance, plugin governance, and also agent governance. What we see here is Copilot pops up everywhere and all around the corner. And that also means our governance model must include grounding, prompts, plugins, data boundaries, connectors, or things like that. And then we are moving into the agent 365 space. So an agent can run a task, he can trigger actions, automate workflows. And that also moves the governance from reactive to a continuous model. In the Power Platform, the most interesting part is we have currently an explosion of maker activity in the Power Platform. And that also means we have a lot of agents showing up, we have flows, we have anything to manage in the Power Platform. Also, think about AI governance doesn't be a tech-only team or is not a tech-only team. It influences legal boundaries, compliance, security, HR, and all those owners, business owners, must align to have a good governance model in place.
And the last part is evergreening.
Yes.
So, for example, why is it important for checking what's new in the Microsoft 365 cloud?
Yeah, there is currently, Microsoft is delivering between 100 and 300 updates every single month to your M365 environment and to your Power Platform environment. And customers still struggle to keep up with those changes. And that also means we can provide you a guideline how you can keep up with those evergreening changes. The biggest challenges we see in our governance models is oversharing, content sprawl, default environment chaos, no agent guardrails. We see a lack of ownership and unclear roles, so people don't know who owns Copilot, who owns M365. And also, still a hot topic is that governance is applied after the fact. So for instance, if we talk about that, Copilot is very often deployed before there's a governance implemented or before people are ready for using it. Also, what we see here is very often there's no clarity what data should be available to Copilot. How can I protect my data? Do I have any legacy permissions? or is oversharing or anything else in my tenant. And when we look at that, and I have some demos here to show you, is the agents management. So if you see that, that's a live environment. This tenant has more than 3,000 agents already implemented.
Which is a lot to manage, or?
It's a lot to manage. And if we look a little bit further, we can see, oh, my agents are published by partners or by Microsoft or by someone in our environment, and we need to manage that as well. And then we can look at all of our agents, and we see here we have our 3,000 agents, but 21 of them are ownerless. So we don't even know who is responsible for that agent.
And someone blocked 8 agents, as I see here.
Yes, and probably they are useful, or we need lifecycle management.
Or eventually it's a good idea to consolidate agents, to say, well, we have 3,000, but is that manageable, or is this usable for my users?
Yeah, true. And what we also see here is our agent management. Very often people ask us, I do not even know what AI technologies are used within my organization, and we will provide you guidelines how you can make that visible and build a governance model around that.
Is this a part of Purview? Or
this is a part of Purview in data loss prevention and all that stuff. And that means Copilot governance is data governance. And it's really important that we implement guidelines where we can see who can see what, is our content lifecycle healthy, are permissions intentional or accidental, or are we ready for our Copilot inside Power Apps, Teams, Outlook, and Loop? And the agent governance has the same questions. So what actions may an agent trigger? We don't know, but we want to know. And who approved an agent scope? So what is the agent's sharing? And also another question might be, how can we audit and how can we monitor our agent behavior? What is our risk model for agents acting on behalf of our users? So all those questions will be answered in the workshops. So what are your quick wins you can apply tomorrow if you joined us today? So we have some quick tips you can implement immediately. So one is fix your ownerless teams, but also fix your ownerless SharePoint sites, fix your ownerless agents. Look at that. Eliminate oversharing. Look at your sharing reviews in SharePoint. Set up a guest access review and then a guest access expiration. This is also something which is very common. Implement a basic data loss prevention policy, tenant-wide, and start a Copilot readiness scan to see, is my content healthy? What are my permissions and things like that. For the Power Platform, I would recommend that you create a 2-tier environment strategy for Power Platform, where you have a default, a dev environment, and the production environment, and also start introducing a monthly evergreen governance. You can look at tools like Cloud Hub Pro, or you can look at the roadmap and the message center. So why should you join our workshop? So our workshop covers a vision and strategy for modern M365 governance. We look at roles and responsibilities. We have identity and access lifecycle. We look at automation first. We look at the Copilot governance framework, which includes data access, privacy boundaries, interaction policies, extensibility controls, and also the agent governance. Who defines what skills my agent has? Who approves actions from my agents? And who is monitoring and reviewing, controlling? And if we look at that, these are our focus topics. The first of it is vision and governance model. So we will set a clear direction for M365, Copilot, the Power Platform, and agents. You will understand centralized versus federated versus hybrid governance. We will look at all of them. We will look at roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities means who owns Copilot, who owns an agent. What about approval workflows? Who monitors the risks? Who monitors evergreenings? Do I need a specific governance council, for instance? Then we take a Copilot governance deep dive. And that means we look at data boundaries, sensitivity labels to protect our sensitive data from AI access. We look at plugin controls. We try to avoid oversharing. And we will implement tenant settings for Copilot governance that really helps you and that matter. Then we will see the agent governance. And that means in the Agent 365 governance, we will see the agent purpose, the scope, the risk levels, the ownership, the life cycle, event triggers, and also auditing patterns. So we see all of that. The next part might be Power Platform and automation readiness. Here we will look at environment structures, private environments, developer environments, public environments.
And also DLP strategies. How can I keep the default environment clean, for example? That's a big topic for most customers, and how to enable makers and define guardrails.
The next topic is evergreening. And in evergreening, we look at message center, cadence, change management, and also tools you can use right away to get your evergreening services and your information up to speed. And then we are also looking at measuring governance. And that means things like measuring Copilot license usage, AI usage report, secure score, compliance scores, governance KPIs, and all of that.
So for example, if a user has a Copilot license, which costs is $30 and he doesn't use it, eventually you can take this license back into your pool and assign it to another user. So
yes.
These are things, use cases that make sense here.
Where you can build a process, right? You will leave our workshop with a governance blueprint. You will get Copilot and agent governance templates. You will have updated quick win policies, and also we will deliver you or give you a Power Platform environment strategy. Also, we look at an AI-ready data loss prevention framework. You will see an evergreening governance model, which is really helpful. And we will also share tons of real-world sample scenarios from smaller customers to enterprise customers, also to public sector companies. And also, last but not least, after the fact governance guideline. What happened if you are already running Copilot in your environment for the last 2 years? And that being said, I hope to see you there. And I hope to get into a discussion with you around governance for Copilot, for agents, and so on. So here you see, you can sign up for that or register. Our workshop runs on Monday, and hope to see you there.
Thank
you. If you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Toni. Thank you so much for sharing this information. The two of you have always one of the most popular workshops out there, and right now you are in the crosshairs of some of the most important developments within the information technology area, and we're really lucky to have you guys there presenting that information. So this presentation is being recorded and will be made available on the conference website on Toni Martina's workshop page, and that should be going up later this week. Again, thank you for joining us. Coming up later today at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, we have Andy Honeycutt and John Moore will give a sneak peek into their collaborating with Microsoft 365 Copilot. And then later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, we have Galen Keene, Ryan Scooten, and Ben Stegging to give a preview into their workshop, Are You Actually Ready for Microsoft 365 Copilot? Again, have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you in Orlando.